Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the channel. It's me, Rush Shock, freshly off of getting over the COVID-19. Ugh, mask, I tell you what. I'm gonna wear that thing for 10 days. Today on the channel, a little FOMO. What? And why do I collect records? Why do you collect records? Asking me a question like that. No, I throw it out there. Mazzy was just talking about, I was watching one of his videos, he was talking about FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. I talked about being sick, right? Like my wife and I got the coronavirus. And, 2022 coronavirus different than 2021 or 2020. It's more of a, it's like the cold and flu's greatest hits for like 3 or 4 days is basically what we had going on. So I was diagnosed via home test twice on Friday, and then Saturday I got the official diagnosis from my doctor's office, and then I had to quarantine for 5 days from Saturday. So from Saturday to Wednesday, and then back to work on Thursday. And so technically I figured I had been diagnosed on Friday. So my 5 days actually ended on Wednesday. Did I go back to work? No. But I saw these two records on Facebook Marketplace. And I had some FOMO because they were brand new, still in the cellophane, unopened. And they were $10 each. Well, actually, it was just this record was $10. So this record, $10, unopened, still in the cellophane. And sure, it's a reprint. It's got it looks like a indie sticker on it right there. So not from Walmart or something like that, but it's still unopened. I still haven't opened this record. So this one was for sale. And then she goes, oh, by the way, I happen to have Bohemian Rhapsody too. And I'm like, well, how much is that? She goes, $10. Oh, okay. So Bohemian Rhapsody, this is the soundtrack from the film. It is awesome. We already listened to this and it was great. And so $10 for each record. And I'm like, where do you want to meet? So I meet her at the Walmart parking lot just north of here in Marysville. I mask up. I lather myself in hand sanitizer, right? Like all over my hands, all the way. And I had cash that we had in an envelope stored away, from before we had COVID, right? So I'm like meticulous about not trying to get this person sick, and put everything, in an envelope, and here you go. It's like she opens the envelope. I meet her at the parking lot there, and I bought these two records out of a bit of FOMO because the price, man, are you kidding me? $10 for this. Am I putting people at harm? I'm 10 days out. And again, according to the CDC, it's 5 dadays now. I was not 100% all right, but I was about 93.748%, which is pretty good. This is the day before I went to work, and that day I was about 97%, if I remember right. Anyway, so I venture out while the government, right, knows that I'm in quarantine, and according to them, I was tested on Saturday, and it had been 4 days. Buy these records. I go into Walmart, long story short, and I was getting a couple things, right? Lathered up again, right? Wearing my mask, going through all the guidelines and all that stuff. And I get a call from the Health Authority of Washington State while I'm at the Walmart. Like I'm inside the Walmart shopping for food, answer the phone, like, well, that's interesting. It comes up with my caller ID. I answered it because, I'm curious at this point. It's like Big Brother following me around. This is really strange. So I answered the phone and the guy's like, yeah, we saw you tested positive on Saturday, and we'd just like to ask you a few questions. And he goes, is this a good time? And I'm like, no, this is not a good time. You're going to have to call me back later. No, bye. So So yeah, that happened. So I talked about it, one of my review videos about my job. I have a weird job where I do gig work, and I get booked for these jobs. I don't really know. You never know. I don't know exactly what I'm going to be doing from day to day until I book some of these tasks. And then I still don't really know what's going on until I get there, right? So my job is interesting that way. It's an experienced lifestyle of sorts. But I get paid pretty well, and I enjoy what I do. I work in the city of Seattle a lot. And so downtime between jobs, stuff like that, I get to go to certain record stores and do some shopping, which is what I do, especially when it's raining a lot. My vinyl finds for May and June, I wanted to share that with you in little bits and pieces. I did buy some new records, bought a lot of used records, and one of the things, it really had me thinking about what I really like about collecting vinyl is the find, right? Sort of like my weird job. Like, I don't know exactly what the day is going to bring, and sometimes it's like really easy. I make a lot of money and I'm like, wow, this was a gravy job, and I made it, I made a good chunk of change on this. And then I'll go to the record store, and then I'll look so Daybreak Records, probably my favorite record store for used stuff in Seattle, because it's just, he buys a lot of collections, gets a lot of stock, rotates it pretty quickly. And I'm kind of cheap, so I beeline for the clearance area, right? Every time I come in. And RJ, the curator there at Daybreak Records, so he saw me a few weeks ago. He's like, yeah, but I just stocked it up there for you. So I'm like, okay. So I'm going to share some of these with you, the stuff that I got that were the find, for the love of the find. Just stopping in there is so cool because, week to week, it's just different. I'll look through these bins and it's different, every week or two when I go in there. So I'll share some with you that I got recently, and we'll go back in time from there. These were most all of these, not all, but most all were in the clearance area. So I got this for $7. Fresh Cream. Did not have that in my collection. Love this record. Good old Eric Clapton and the Boys back in the day. I feel free. Anyway, love that. This was $10, but is another one I didn't have in my collection of Bob Dylan stuff. Great record. $10, and came with the original sleeve like that. And these are, they're in okay shape. This one isn't too bad. Look at that. Bob Dylan, Blood on the Tracks. This for $10 is a steal. All right. I don't know what it is on Discogs. Have we put these in Discogs yet, love? Mm-mm. No. But I was excited to find that for $10. Bargain clearance area there. There was he had a lot of Bob Dylan stuff. I would have bought more, but kind of I could spend a lot of money in his shop, and I have. It's true. This was a great deal. I think this was $10. Neil Young, Harvest. And it's on the original kind of scratchy, cardboardy cover, gatefold. It is recycled material. I don't know if that's true. But it came with liner notes. Very cool. And a poly sleeve. Look at that. Inside the sleeve, plastic. There's another sticker on there. It says $5.99 from Sunrise. Whatever record store had sold this before. And it is a little beat up, but not real bad. Not too bad at all. I love this record. This is some of my favorite Neil Young stuff right there. Tell you what, Harvest, you will not find this on Spotify. Right? Well, there's a whole story behind that, but that's old news. Still not on Spotify. Here's another one I've been looking for a long time. Carole King Tapestry. This one skips, man. It's beat up pretty good, and it skipped on me. So I'm either going to try and repair it. I saw a video, a guy was sharing Spatula City Records, I think is his channel. Give him a shout out. He was talking about a way to repair some of these records. Even if they pop, there's a way to repair them. And he did a video on that. And you can see, I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? Can you see it? Can you see the real scratch? Can you? Can you? Carole King Tapestry. Just an iconic record from back in the day. This was a great find. They just had some really good stuff. This one, I actually had left the store, bought those records. This one was in there too, and I passed on it. I got all the way in the car. I kind of looked at the time and thought, well, I'm not running that late. And I went back and I bought this because I don't see this very often. So this is Fleetwood Mac, early 70s. This is before Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks. And it's a different kind of listen, man. I like it though. It's a little psychedelic. It's a bit strange, but it's rock and roll, and I love it because, I know it's only rock and roll, but I like it. So there's that. This was also kind of an impulse buy that was in the bargain bin. Kevin Eubanks. If anybody knows The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, Kevin Eubanks from back in the day. I've never really heard any of his music, so I thought, well, that's interesting. We'll put that on and give it a spin. Have we listened to this yet, love?
I don't think so.
We haven't, but we're going to. We're going to get around to it. Did I buy another copy of the Rolling Stones Tattoo You? I don't know why I find so many copies of this in good condition. This one's in great condition. And I picked up another copy. Why? I don't know. I'll send it to you. Do you not have this? Maybe I'll do a VCR. Feel. Final Community Love Train. It's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot. But I'll do that too. I will. Okay, this was a great album that I found. I found 2 copies of this. This was one I've been wanting for a long time. I'm a big Jeff Beck fan. Truth. This is one of my favorite songs for like Halloween time. It's just one of my favorite songs anyway. But I Ain't Superstitious, right? And you got Rod Stewart on vocals on that. It's just the guitar in this. 5-second taster there. This is also Beck-Ola. They're Coke and Pepsi. Beck-Ola. Jeff Beck. So this is a double album with some extra stuff on it, some live stuff. Ron Wood, who was in the Rolling Stones, joined the Rolling Stones late. Mr. Ronnie Wood. Rod Stewart, Jeff Beck. Pretty cool. Wow. I ain't superstitious. I ain't. This one I found used at Silver Platters. It's Wang Chung. Some of that 80s new wavy kind of stuff, right? Wang Chung. This has Dance Hall Days on it.
Take your baby by
I don't remember that. I remember Dance Hall Days, but it was like $6, so I had to get it. This was a great find. This was one of those finds, and it wasn't in the bargain bin either. It was actually on the wall. And they share their stuff on Instagram, so he'll do like a shot on Instagram before he puts stuff out on the shelves, and like a big shot of like, I don't know, 12, 15, 20 records, whatever. And this was in there. And usually I'm not there on the weekends, right? Like I'm there when I'm working. So I was excited to see that this was still on the wall when I came in. This is Mr. Stevie Ray Vaughan, Double Trouble, Soul to Soul. Love me some Stevie Ray Vaughan. When I saw this was still there, I almost peed a little. Love me some Stevie Ray. Yep, say what? Look at Little Sister. Ain't gone and given up on love. Gone home. Change it. I mean, this is a great record. I have it. I actually put it in the sealed, one of these fancy ass sealed frickin' jacket things. Did I buy it like that? I can't remember. Maybe. This was in the dollar bin, $3 for the Blues Brothers. Right there. Soundtrack. Is it a soundtrack? These guys came up with their own little band. There's a lot of great collaboration in this as well. You know. So my son and I went to Canada when he was 19. It was kind of cool, and he's like, so in Canada you can consume alcohol at 19 years old. Here in the States it's 21. So my son was like, hey Dad, it'd be cool to go to, on my birthday, go to Canada and have a drink with you at an Irish pub or something like that. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool, let's do it. We made a whole weekend of it. My wife went, Grandma even went, we got a hotel and stuff. And it was so funny. So that was the easiest border crossing ever. So crossing from the United States into Canada can sometimes be, there's a lot of questions. Sometimes they want to look in your car and all this weird stuff. But it was the easiest border crossing ever because all we had to say was, why? Because they asked, like, why are you coming to Canada? And we're like, he just turned 19. And now think of this, because they're also looking at your ID at the time, because you have to hand them your ID coming into the country. And so they're looking at his ID and they kind of smile a little bit. All right, I get it. Here you go. Enjoy. Have fun. Be responsible. All that. And same with coming back. Sometimes the American side is even worse. And I'm American, right? Coming from Canada to America, the place where I reside, and I'm getting 20 questions from my own people. Why did you go to Canada? It was my son's birthday. And he just turned 19, and they're like, oh. They did ask if we had any booze, and we did have. So that's where this record comes in. Almost got sidetracked. Skull Vodka, made by Mr. Dan Aykroyd. In Canada, you can't buy liquor except for from state-run liquor stores, at least at the time. I don't know if they changed the laws or whatever. You can get, I guess you can buy like micro brews or whatever from little breweries or, I don't know, distilleries and stuff, but everybody else, you got to go through the state-run liquor store. So this woman was working there. She was like a manager or something like that, like a higher up, and she's like, can I help you guys? And I said, well, my son just turned 19. He's buying his first bottle of booze, right? So, and I said, is there anything you would recommend that's cool, And she goes, yesterday, Mr. Dan Aykroyd was here hand signing bottles of his Skull Vodka. And so she goes, I can go look back there. She goes, I think there's still a few back there that didn't sell, like 3 or 4 back there. And sure enough, my son bought his first bottle of booze that he ever bought was Skull Vodka, hand signed by Mr. Dan Aykroyd, which is very cool. Let's a picture of it. Kansas, Point of No Return Very cool. Now, you flat earthers out there, you're going to really enjoy this album just because of the artwork. It has no basis in science. See, I had to go throw my opinion out, Dana. You know, people don't want to hear that. I don't need to get political on this show. Kansas, Point of No Return. This is a great record. Love me some Kansas. There's a documentary on YouTube about this band, which is really, really interesting. Don't you have to be from a big city to be a hit, make a hit band or make a hit record? Or nope. At least not back in those days. Heart. 80s Heart right here. Got this one. This was a good find. Hard to find. I've never seen this around here. Heart is also from the Seattle area. These Ann and Nancy Wilson are Seattle natives, and they still actually live in this area, reside in this area. What about love? I just want someone to care about you. I'll stop singing now. And another great find. I've never actually seen this before, and it's a comp. You know, it's like a best of kind of thing. But I was like, oh, that's interesting. $7, and it's you know, another Beatles record, basically. Beatles again on the Apple label. So it's got, you know, it's like a greatest hits kind of thing. Should have known better. Paperback Writer, Lady Madonna, Revolution, Rain. It's just a comp, but I like it. It was worth $7. I don't think we've listened to this one yet either, actually. But I was excited to find it. These are all records I was excited. I was excited when I saw them. I'm like, oh my God, that's awesome. I should get that, you know? I mean, when it came to the Fleetwood Mac record, I'm like, I didn't want to have non-buyer's remorse, you know? Some people have buyer's remorse. Like, that's a record I'd probably beat myself up about later because it's so hard to find. I don't see it very often for sale used. I think it's out of print, so you're not going to see it new either, for that matter. So when I saw that record for, what, $7? I'm like, heck yeah. I'm going back in and I'm going to buy that record. I can afford it. It's fine. It's like $7. But you know, it all adds up. It does. You get 10 $7 records, and that's $70. So like, that's a substantial amount of money for used vinyl. So there's that. But thanks for watching. If you want to see anything else, here's some other videos that you may be interested in. Until next time, subscribe to the channel. At least you could do, making it this far, is like the frickin' thing, all right? Just get it out of the way. Hit the like button. You're going to feel way better about yourself. God knows I will feel better about myself if you hit the like button. So just go ahead and do it and appease my self-esteem. Thanks again for watching. Bye.